Welcome to Purpose After Sports, where we interview athletes to share their post-sport journeys and explore how they are reinventing what it means to compete. Today, I am here with Tex McQuilkin. He is a former college lacrosse player, and now he is a strength and conditioning coach, an educator, and a global presenter. He's trained everyone from youth athletes, even Navy SEALs, and he's taught in 16 different countries. He has now built a career around helping coaches and athletes reach their potential. We'll dive into his journey, the lessons he's learned through sport, and then how to build purpose and structure long after your sports career ends. Tex, thank you for being on today.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And shout out
Of
Chad Hobbs
course.
for connecting us.
Yeah, he'll love that. Shout out to Chad Hobbs. What a good man. Um, yeah, so he definitely reached out to me to let me know that Tex was such a great person and a good person to have on our podcast. So without further ado, let's get into a little bit of your story, Tex. Talk to me about lacrosse and how you got into the sport and choosing that university and what it's helped you with.
Yeah, I love to feel that lacrosse found me, and I was very fortunate. So grew up west of Houston in a town called Katy, Texas, where football is life. If you've seen the movie Friday Night Lights, it was very representative of how I grew up. If you've seen the TV show, trust me when I say this, high school is not that dramatic. So town was shut down. The challenge was we had two high schools. We had one that was a winner state championship every single year, and then we had where I went to school. We won the academic
Mm,
decathlon state championship. So it was that kind of institution, and we would
yeah,
lose a lot in football. But there was still this passion and connection to the sport, and unfortunately, coaches broke it for me and my boys. And that's when we started a lacrosse team. They made a decision for us about our performance. They took the sophomore class of my junior year, they put them on varsity and told the boosters that, hey, we're going to lose for 1-2 years, and then we're going to compete that third year for their senior class. What the coaches didn't see coming was Andy Dalton, phenomenal athlete, NFL quarterback, torched us for 60 and never looked back. Needless to say, that coaching staff ended up getting fired eventually. But what
yeah,
became of it, we started our lacrosse team. So 10 of that junior class, friends and I, we started the team. 5 of the 10 of us went on to go play in college. And that's what led me to Marymount University. I was the first NCAA lacrosse player from that community. And 20 years later, the Katy program is still going strong, 22, 23 later. But either way, like
wow.
just we started a movement, and I'm so happy that it continues to affect that community positively. And I continue to give back to the game and coach high school lacrosse now. But that spark, that moment of dejection, rejection from high school coaches led me to then never let anyone put my performance in their own hands again. And that's
Yeah,
where my leadership journey started. And fortunately, going to the East Coast to play lacrosse, it was very style and finesse. And I brought a physicality to it that was football. All I knew was lift weights, run as fast as you can, and play your sport. And I got lost on the field a lot. I just went 100 miles an hour through guys. Eventually, I was able to find my role on the team, but until that was only after an incident occurred 8 days before the first game of my freshman year. I broke my
yeah.
leg in practice. Hit a teammate in practice and then hit him so hard he fell on the ground. I stepped on him, I rolled my ankle, and then my fibula snapped. So
Oof.
that slowed me down. I mean, I was going 100 miles an hour. I was lost a lot, but going to
Yeah,
be physical. And now I had the opportunity to slow the game down and learn it. I was keeping stats for the team and just understanding the game at a different level that I just didn't have growing up. No, I mean, I only played for 16 months and then went to go play college with dudes that have been playing their entire lives. And
yeah,
that was a shining moment, and that's what also led me to grad school because I had this extra year. And I graduated 2008, and the world economy was terrible in 2008. I couldn't get a job, so I go back to grad school. I play
yeah.
an extra year, and then introduce coaching. where I have this extra year. Coaches invited me. I was a 3-year team captain, invite me to be a grad assistant coach for the squad. And that was my first exposure to coaching. I had
Hmm.
imposter syndrome stepping into this because I was recruiting kids now that have been playing longer than I have. It's, I
Yeah.
mean, 6 years at this point. And so I thought, okay, how could I contribute? What am I going to look for in recruiting? How can I contribute as a coach to guys that know the game better than me? And that was the weight room. So this introduced me to now strength and conditioning as a profession because we didn't have a strength and conditioning coach in college. It was me just
Yeah.
stealing a weightlifting program from my boys that played football at University of Texas. And this was the heyday.
Ah.
I was doing the same workouts as Vince Young as a Division III freaking short genetic trash can lacrosse player from Katy, Texas, and not getting the same results as Vince Young. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know anything about strength and conditioning. It was just lift weights, go hard. And now I was forced. Here's another just defining moment for me. My first practice coaching, we needed upper body strength. Our weight room was a fitness center, not a weight room. So now
Okay.
we couldn't bring 40 dudes into a fitness center that was also open to students and teachers because
Yeah.
it was just madness. So I had all the guys kick up into a handstand against the wall, and one of them goes down. He hurt his shoulder when he kicked up. And we got to recall, I was on this team. This was my teammate. He was still my friend, but now he was my athlete. And he tore his rotator cuff, and I took away his senior year of lacrosse because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So that just,
Wow.
I mean, I felt an immense shame. I love to joke I'm a recovering Irish Catholic. Everything I do wrong, I feel deep into my soul. So
Yeah.
I needed to find experts in the field, and I would fly to them and just spend weekends with them. So I was introduced to a couple great mentors of mine after this moment. I found them, flew out to California, spent 2 days with them, and just cracked the bone, sucked the marrow out of this thing, and really started to understand what performance training was. It's not just the weights on the bar or the numbers that we're recording or the times that we're clocking in or the calories burned or any of that. No, it's
Yeah.
connecting just emotionally and spiritually with these athletes and taking them where they can't take themselves that they want to go. So ever since then, it just been a force nonstop. I will value education over money. I will find the best in the world. I would go spend time with them. And now I've downloaded so much information from such amazing coaches, and that's what I'm aiming to do now is distill it down to deliver it to tools for both athletes and coaches to help them hold on to these lessons that are going to translate and carry over into the real world. And that's what Captains and Coaches is all about.
I want to rewind a little bit
Yeah.
because from talking to you before, I know a little bit of your story and why this is such a passion and important avenue for you because of the coaches you grew up with or had in your life. Can you talk a little bit about those coaches, maybe some not so good moments, and why it led you to even helping the coach you had find the coach in college?
Yes. So I would differentiate the two different types of coaches, and I want people to think about these experiences in their life. It comes down to transactional versus transformational coaching. I mentioned the high school coaches that I had in football, they were very transactional. They made decisions in order to best support themselves and keep their jobs. You can understand how that is very transactional. Now,
Yep.
they were willing to sacrifice the senior class and my junior class for these bright stars. And they were justified because there was one player from that sophomore class that went on to go play in the NFL. So I've
Mm,
since talked to them about this to help me understand because I did take it personally back then. Now,
yeah.
just have a bigger picture, but there are different ways that they could approach it. In a one-on-one meeting, said coach, he told me, I work hard on the field, I work hard in the weight room. I'm just not any good. We could have reframed that, okay,
Yep.
guess what backup linebackers do? They start on special teams, or you're going to be on kickoff team, you're going to be on punt team and go make plays. So we're going to need you this year at special teams. I want you to lock in and master all of those aspects. See, now I did the same thing. I took away the starting position of linebacker, the glimmer of maybe some playing time in garbage games, and I put into an empowering performance where, hey, you're going to have a very small role in this team, but it matters. It counts. Saying
Yes.
the same thing, just different ways. Now we have a transformational coach. That what I just did was turn that into more transformational language where it's on the depth chart, it's the same. The playing time is probably going to be the same, but how I'm now empowering the kid to just believe in themselves. So
Yeah.
I had a lacrosse coach. He was from Long Island down in this small town, Texas. We lucked into him. He's an amazing man. His name's Mike Kavanaugh. And he wanted us to succeed just as young men because he had
Yeah.
a nephew that played football for the Katy Tigers, and he saw what football did to his nephew and how it wasn't the healthiest thing for him as a young man. So now Coach Kavanaugh, he told me a great quote, and I want to hand this off. And he said, "You're going to be remembered for what you're not supposed to do." Now there's two sides to that coin. Not supposed to do, like if I'm an amazing athlete with super high potential in my town and then I get this scholarship and then I don't pan out, guess how I'm going to be remembered in that town? The never was. Okay. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
guess what genetic trash can over here did? I wasn't supposed people don't even know what lacrosse is in my town. Then I wasn't supposed to
Yeah.
be a collegiate athlete. I wasn't supposed to be a leader. I wasn't supposed to be a captain. I was no good to contributing to that one particular football team. So I wasn't going to be remembered for that. And guess what? Now I go on and was a collegiate athlete, started for 4 years, 3-year captain, and now get the fortunate to travel the world and teach people how to teach people to lift weights, run fast, and believe in themselves. So I held on to that one quote. It was maybe it was a backhanded compliment that, hey, we're gonna rock the world here, and
Yeah.
lovely from Kavanaugh. But that's transformational language. He saw how we were treated as individuals, and he wanted to plant seeds in us for us to just go on and kick ass in life. Because I mean, it was through lacrosse that he was able to make a connection with us. It wasn't about whether we won or lost, because we lost a hell of a lot more than we won, but we had fun doing it. Um,
Yeah.
so then I had this same experience in college. I had two different head coaches. My freshman year, technically the coach that recruited me, he was very transactional. He played at
Yeah.
Yale. He was very demanding, and he wanted the best for us, but he was going to demean and grind and push us until we went from coal into diamonds. Now, the
Mm.
result of that was a lot of dudes quitting the team. So now we had less people on our team, which then he
Yeah.
demanded more of less people because he drove a bunch of people off. And then the core that remained, we spite played. We did not quit because we didn't want him to win. And it brought us together. We were able to develop the tools to come together, connect, and lead ourselves where he did not lead us. And so almost presenting and developing these barriers against this negative attitude and
Right.
fortunately created a lot of resentment up where I don't like to lead that way. I was prepared for it and had experienced this in high school, so I was able to just brush a lot of that stuff off and continue to move
Hmm.
forward. And I brought a lot of teammates with me with that mindset, with that attitude. So I was able to now start into a leadership role where being like, dude, don't listen to him. You're the best player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Whether that means anything to you or not, dude, you're amazing. Let's fight through it. So it's starting to get my reps of leadership at that moment, especially with a broken leg. I couldn't contribute on the
Yeah.
field. So then that coach, transactional coach, he went on to leave and take another job. And he knew he was leaving and he didn't recruit. So he left our team out to dry. So the few dudes that we had left, again, we became even more enmeshed and closer together. And as a
Yeah.
leader in the team, and I was at the time, I think, vice president of the SAC Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I got a
Wow.
saying in the hiring process for the new coach at Marymount. And they brought in a number of dudes. I got to sit down with each one of them, and the one that just connected the most with me was a 28-year-old high school coach who Marymount was his alma mater. And he had big vision, big picture for our team, because Marymount was a great program back when he played in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it was a
Mm,
matter of him presenting this dream, this vision to get us back to the heyday. And
yeah.
he just so happened to play with my brother-in-law, so I had heard these stories 1,000 times. So, uh, not brother-in-law at the time, that's a whole different story for, another
Okay.
podcast. But,
Okay.
the I yeah, so I got the opportunity now, and fortunately, he was hired, and here we are 20 some odd years later, and he's still the head coach. So I was one of his first team captains. In our meetings, what we were able to establish as the culture, as the vision for the program, is still in play today. So that is a transformational coach. He wanted us, instead of yelling at us and telling us how it's going to be, he wanted us to bring our autonomy, our vision, our family that we had already established into the fold, and help us understand what it truly meant to be a saint. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just I couldn't write a better leadership experience. Our record wasn't what it was like. It's nothing to write home about. I couldn't even tell you our record, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But now the stories and the experiences are just so many lessons within there that I'm ready to hand off and deliver to people in these trying times. So it's not supposed to be perfect, and anybody that's been on a winning team or a losing team knows that. And anything you see on social media where it's this picture perfect locker room, that's all BS. So what
Yeah.
lessons can you learn and take away from your current team and situation that's going to help you as a future leader, parent, or giver back to your community as a coach or otherwise?
I liked when you talked about, um when you were stepping into trying to find your leadership role in that first year or so in college, of how you were used to being kind of demeaned or talked to a certain way by coaches. And it can be hard to hear because so many athletes come to me, and I'm sure with you with that same experience, even parents probably, as well as, oh, I'm just used to that. Like that's just how all I've known.
Hmm.
And it to me, it's, it hurts my heart because as somebody who wants to empower that next generation, it shouldn't be. That's not how it should be. What are your thoughts, and what are ways that you talk to athletes and coaches now when you hear things like that?
I still hear it. Like I mentioned, I'm coaching high school lacrosse, so about 50% of my dudes play high school football. So
Yeah,
they're in it. And what I find the most interesting is when young athletes take on leadership for the first time, they just try to mimic what they believe leadership is. So
yeah,
just having 16 years of different teams from high school to college levels, just seeing what their interpretation of leadership is, and they mimic their role models. So for a lot of guys that play football, they come in and they are jerks. They are hard charging
yeah,
jerks, just telling the freshmen what to do or else, and threatening them with punishment like running. It's like, no, dude, I got a specific speed and conditioning plan. You're not going to ruin it by some kid not listening to you because you're not treating them well. So
yeah,
that's interesting. And then you have more uh, guys that they come from club sports only. So they don't play the competitive football, but then they play a very entitled game of club sports and then step into leadership. And they're more quiet. They just are have a trouble connecting socially. So the football guys are
mm,
great socially because they spend so much time together already. And now instead
yeah,
of locker room football, now it's locker room lacrosse. The club guys, there is no locker room. The club ball, it's people from all over all the different schools. So
yeah,
seeing them default to, oh, I'm just a lead by example guy. I'm not going to say anything. They're going to do everything that you ask them to do. However, they're afraid to stand up against the big personalities and confident football personalities on the team. So then it's
yeah,
okay. How can I empower and give the tools of communication to the lead by example guy. And then at the same time within football, help them have some form of empathy. Yes, a teenage boy is capable of empathy, and
Yeah.
the fun conversations are trying to navigate this. For the less empathetic player, I talk about fiction. So it could be Star Wars, it could be Lord of the Rings, or just one of the big fictional things that is that's popular, whatever they globbed onto as a kid, and help them realize the hero's journey. And they walked a mile in Luke Skywalker's shoes or Han Solo's shoes. And how did that feel? And then now we connect to, oh, that was empowering. So who had mentors? Luke Summers, my pal. Luke Skywalker had a mentor. So now as a
Yeah.
leader, guess what you get to be? You get to be Obi-Wan. This kid, he's a freshman. He doesn't know anything. Remember when Luke Skywalker picked up a lightsaber for the first time? Again, I haven't seen this movie in 20 years, but the story is the story. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
helping them understand now, hey, dude, even Luke Skywalker needs a mentor, and that needs to be you right now. Was Obi-Wan a jerk? No. He led him
yeah.
to the answers. So it's helping them understand now what a true leader is. And it's that mentor, it's that guide. It's not telling them exactly what to do, it's leading them. So you're leading them to water in a sense, and you're helping them make their own good decisions. They want to go set up the field and get the water because that's what's best for the team, not they're threatened with running. So
Yeah.
then that's with our very um, aggressive leaders, I'll call them. Then with our quiet or more lead by example guys who are quote unquote shy, or they have their imposter syndrome of it. Speaking is uncomfortable. Now I find
Mhm.
ways for them to speak in warm-ups. This is counting. Everybody can count
Yeah.
to 10. So now I hand off counting our push-ups or counting our squats, the dynamic warm-ups that I'm leading. I'm not counting the reps as coach. I hand it off and I call out, okay, Augie, you're going to lead 5 4-count push-ups. So a 4-count push-up, this is a military count where the leader on 1, he yells out 1, everybody goes down in a push-up. 2, everybody pushes up back to a top position. 3, they go down into uh, the bottom. And then
Mhm.
everybody pushes up. Instead of the leader saying 4, the team says the rep number 1. So now that is embarrassing for a lot of people. They're afraid to mess up the count. Good.
Mm.
This is just the warm up. This doesn't matter, but you're getting
Yeah.
valuable reps with your voice leading. So now, yes, you are leading by example, and we're introducing vocal leadership opportunities that are highly controlled. I'm not saying, hey, you're the quarterback, go lead. I'm telling them, hey, dude, I need 5 4-count push ups. You got it. Ready,
Yeah.
ready. So now and that's another fallacy I see with a lot of coaches that have poor communication and poor leadership skills. They put the onus on the team. Hey, go lead. Our guys are having this problem. I need you to go to solve it. Okay. But then they'll default to what they grew up with. And that could
Right,
be just
right.
being an asshole. And that's unfortunate. So now we start to builds resentment, and resentment is the killer of culture, unfortunately. So now if my freshmen, they're being talked down to by seniors, guess how they're going to guess how they're going to talk to the freshmen when they get there, speaking down to them.
Yeah.
Guess how they're going to lead in the office in future life. They're going to start talking down to people. They're going to demand all this stuff versus empowering and motivating and asking for help. So it's fun social. I call it social emotional leadership. Just playing different games, running different plays in the leadership camp every single day that I'm out at practice and having fun, and then just translating that into lessons. But I mean, I've been there. I was the quiet leader, like I mentioned, 3-year captain. I started as
Yeah.
I'm just going to be the guy that just does everything above and beyond. Then my vocal seniors graduated. So now I step up. Oh crap. I got to start holding people accountable. I got to start calling people out for stuff that I see instead of just being quiet, lead from the front guy. And then by the time I was my last year playing, now I had plenty of reps vocally, and it's teaching people how to go. And there's never been a moment where I've been more confident than that last year playing. I knew all the systems, but now it's okay. I have to step up into a leadership role. And so last point here is that relationship, fortunately, with my transformational coach, John Reynolds, is he was able to
Mhm.
lead me from just shy, quiet example kid into leading a squad. And then I tackled any social emotional issues that we need to get guys in line, more connected to behavior. And if there's a problem that was beyond uh, a strong talking to from one of your teammates, then I just sent it up the
Yeah.
flagpole to coach, and he had the authority to take away ultimately playing time and truly punish with what most athletes value the most. So if I couldn't solve it, send it up the flagpole, or if it involved situations that needed authority, then sent it up the flagpole. But yeah, was sometimes I was a jerk, but it's that was getting reps at leading and seeing what worked and didn't work. And yeah, it wasn't always perfect, but all of those are just fun stories I get to tell on a podcast now.
Talk to me about, I'm intrigued now. I'm jumping my own questions. As you have started to coach and share and teach leadership, do you have pushback with those maybe coaches that or those transactional or maybe those leaders that just don't want to kind of step out and maybe have a voice?
Oh yeah, which is mind blowing to me, but am receiving internet hate. But then that forces me to get tools to now practice this. So this
Yeah.
I in when I post something or say something or teach at a conference, um, and people aren't buying in, I started out as being like, what do you mean? Now it's like, okay, how did I phrase it? And my goal was to allow my experience to be listened to. And if
Mhm.
they're not willing to listen, well, that's not on me. I'm not taking it personally. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
putting them in a position to understand the message. This is the beauty of social media clips. I have my 60-second clip, and then I got text to provide more context. And within both of those is an opportunity for them to connect with it. Did they choose to read the context? No. Okay, well, that's on them. If they're
Yeah.
if they're in denial of this, or maybe their limited experience didn't doesn't reflect what my experience does, okay, you just need more time in the field, dude. Because I've been
Mhm.
16 plus years, 16 different teams each year. A team evolves. I've been at the tip of the spear all the way to understanding parents and development and child development. This this comes from a place of passion for people, and
Yeah.
maybe there's something internally that is going on with you. So I've learned to not take this stuff personally, where I always used to hold the mirror up and take full responsibility for them to understand the message. And this is where Chad Hobbs and I can have some fun banter. Where if I
Yeah.
was making a point and Chad was pushing back against it, my defenses, I would posture up and get defensive and try to XYZ help him understand my point. But he had a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
perspective. He was coming from a basketball background. I'm coming from a field sport background. While there are similarities, there are completely different cultures. And at the same time, we're talking grass versus court. So different rules apply to this. So some
Yeah.
particular speed conversations that we had, it led me to then reflect on and understand better now this. So I internalized that and then took it into a lesson to now understand speed and footwork better, to then translate better to guys like Chad who are willing and wanting to learn. That's why they're asking questions. Now the people on
Mm.
the internet that are speaking negatively, they're not willing to ask questions. They're just trying to demean and go down. So
Yeah.
it's giving all these tools and filters, and then ultimately, this is the most valuable tool that I've taken away from it. And I'm going to start referring to this as the Charles Barkley method. Simply, is it true? So this
Mm,
is a quick aside. So Barkley, when he was a rookie, he had Julius Irving, Dr. J, at the end of his bench, and Barkley traveling all over the country with different NBA sports writers. He would read the performance from the previous night in the next day's paper, and then that would ruffle his feathers, and he'd get pissed off. So now,
yeah,
him understanding, like, these are individuals that are critiquing your play that never played the game or have limited experience in playing the game, and he's playing at the highest level. So Dr. J had enough of this, and he asked Barkley, okay, read through it. Is it true? So then Barkley would say, no, like, and highlight a point. No, he said this though, and blah, blah, blah. And then Dr. J would stop him from his emotional tirade. And
yeah.
is it true? No. So if it was true, well, then, okay, that's a critique on me and my game. Guess what I get the opportunity to do? In practice, I'm going to attack this and turn it into a strength. So the next time I get to visit, New York Knicks, I'm going to use this move that the guy called out before. So he was able
Mhm.
to use that into fuel, hold that mirror up, and then make corrections. But it had nothing to do with Barkley's game. It was more about the writer trying to be a critic and sit on his high horse. Forget about it. So now
Right.
I had to learn that lesson via social media comments and just be like, is it true? So certain comments, I leave them up there because it makes that coach or whoever look really bad. So I don't delete it. I just leave it up there and I ignore it.
Yeah.
And that's a great tool as well. So, and now handing off the lessons, because what do kids at high school do? They read the social media and it affects them. They hear the gossip, it affects them. So now
Yeah.
working this, is it true, into practices, and this is a big tool I lean into, is banter and radical candor. So radical candor is true critique with compassion. So if I see something, I will say something because I want them to correct it and improve. The
Yeah.
banter is now how I apply some light humor to it. So that could be some rolling some self-deprecating humor in there, saying like I've already done it a number of times on this podcast. I'm a 5'7" genetic trash can, being like, dude, I see this in your shot. I know you can get there. I'll never be able to get there. Or I don't play offense, I play defense. So now I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
putting some banter on top of it, putting it on me if I know that he's a freshman and he can't necessarily take it. But as the higher
Mhm.
they get up in the classes, now I direct the banter intentionally more towards them, being like, dude, you missed that shot because you've been skipping your calf work in the gym. Trust me, dude. Look at those pencils. And they have developed calves. So is it true? I'm intentionally saying the opposite of what they
Yeah.
know to be true. And when they get ruffled, like Barkley started with, being like, dude, I'm just messing with you, right? Look at your calves. Look at mine. You got bigger calves than me. Like, I've been training and trying hard to get those for 40 years. You are born with this gift. So now anytime somebody talks trash to you, which is very common on the court, on the field, ask yourself, is it true? So that takes reps. I love to call it building calluses, because we do weight training as well. So building calluses on their hands for our weight
Mhm.
and stuff. Now we're building calluses socially and emotionally, preparing us for the people that are going to go after us, that are maliciously trying to pull us down because of, you know, their own stuff going on.
Yeah. No, I like that because, obviously we want our kids and adults to be self-aware. I think that's super important. But also at the end of the day, maybe you're in a situation where you can't switch a coaching staff and you have a coach that's, putting you down constantly. Or maybe you're in the work aspect and for whatever reason, you don't have a good leader. And at the end of the day, um, if you can take anything from their message, great. But as long as you can tell yourself, are those things that are malicious and trying to attack you, are they true? No. Okay. We gotta put those in a separate box. We gotta move on from those. I
Mhm.
like that method. I am going to use that a little bit more myself. Is that true? As we move down the questions, as a certified strength and conditioning specialist, what are foundational must-haves for someone who is coming out of sports and want to build a training habit again? I'm sure you know, and our former athletes, we come from such structure and then it's none, nothing at
Mhm.
all. How do we slowly start to build that back again?
Well, the that's the beauty of D3 sports. There's no structure. You got to do it yourself. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
If you were used to that, the aim is to start to hold yourself to the same accountability as your coach would. So this is self-leadership. So if your aim is, okay, we had practice every morning at 8 a.m. or weights at every morning at 8 a.m. or weights Monday, Tuesday, whatever your schedule was, the best opportunity for you is to maintain that schedule. So now if you have a 9 to 5 and you cannot maintain that schedule, I need you to pick your days to get up early and go before. I love
Yeah.
training in the morning before the whole world comes crashing down on your business. So if you say, "Oh, I'm going to get to that," something always comes up. You're never going to get to it. Um,
Yeah. Very
so
true.
the same discipline that you've established, those are tools that are going to prepare you for getting back into fitness. One of the beautiful tools of discipline that you learned and mastered as an athlete is called delayed gratification. I'm going to bust my tail during the summer for a spring season. I'm going to bust my
Mhm.
tail during the winter for fall season the next year because it was so painful and emotional for me to lose. I'm never going to lose that feeling. So that is delayed gratification. Now, are you, oh, I'm not feeling motivated today. I'm not willing. Well, now what is your identity? Do you
Mhm.
identify as a champion? Well, champions keep showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they're feeling. More often than not, their feelings are lying to them. And there's
Yeah.
one of my favorite authors, his name's Stephen Pressfield. He wrote a book called The War of Art, and he refers to something he calls the resistance. So it's that little voice inside your head that's telling you to sleep in, or telling you it's too cold outside, or telling you like, just wait till 5 o'clock when we get off work. So
Mhm.
that is resistance. That is an enemy trying to pull you down. So if you're identifying as a champion and you feel that conscience, that pressure, that little voice inside your head, that resistance trying to talk down on you, flip the competitive switch that allowed you such great success in college and get after it. View them as an enemy.
Yeah. I feel like that's so important too because it is a tool that I had to think about after sports is, you hear we time management, you hear the common ones that you get from being an athlete, and they're very, very good. But one that has been brought to light in the past couple of years that I think is so important is the delayed gratification. We, depending on how long and how serious you took sports, you have worked for an extremely long time at a goal you might not ever reach, but for some reason you keep in that grind, whether it's discipline. It has to come into discipline after motivation is gone.
Mhm.
um, and I think that is such an important reason and way and a tool that we can still use in everyday life, to build those habits again. As you talk about behavior change, what does that mean day to day for someone who is no longer in sports? It's a topic which was your master's, and I'm sure you use that day to day. How can our everyday athlete or former athlete use that?
So that you need to get aligned with your current behaviors. And then I truly believe in the power of goal setting, but you must write them down to make them real. So write your goals down,
Yep.
pen to paper, like handwritten, not printing and typing or putting on your phone, handwritten. And then you just put it in your bathroom mirror. You're going to go there every single morning and stare down those goals and think of the opportunity for me to get closer to them today. You're also going to go to bed, brush your teeth, and you got to stare at them and think about, did my actions bring me closer to what I'm trying to accomplish? Do my
Yeah.
actions match my goals? If it's nutrition wise and you were going out to happy hours, those are not aligned. So we have an opportunity to realize, are our actions, our behaviors, our decisions responsible decision making that is leading towards our goals? So that's something very, very important to consider. If you don't have goals, that's step one. And it is very difficult to take that pen to paper, but that's why I want you to do it. And from goals, now we can create objectives, and objectives become the boxes that you check on your daily to-do list. So what leads to accomplishing that goal? If it's losing weight, if it's exercising 5 times a week, whatever it may be, 10,000 steps. Okay, what do I need to do to walk 10,000 steps? Okay, well, I got to get up earlier. And I got to start my day with 2K because I know I got a long meeting. We're going to be sitting down for 2 hours as an
Mhm.
opportunity. So it allows me to get and schedule my day just so much deeper. It's not what do I have to do today? It's what am I going to do today that allows me to accomplish my goals on top of everything that my boss is demanding of me. Um, so if we can't write them down, you're not going to accomplish them. And then here's the beauty is you can mark them off. And that is the most rewarding experience
Yeah.
ever. So what I have is a giant calendar, and this was a gift. And at the top, this is a gift from Coach Justin Kavanaugh. It says, "Live your telos," and that's his
Hmm.
his personal mantra. And then it's each month right across there. And on the bottom, it's got personal, it's got business, it's it's different goals that you can create. And so then I have
Yeah.
different color permanent markers and I write down the personal goals. And then on my calendar, I'm marking off when I accomplish them. So with different symbols. So for example, a podcast, I want to do 52 interviews a year. That's one interview at least a week on average. Some days, some weeks I get more than one, but I just mark it with a pyramid. I got Coach Wooden's pyramid for success because that's representative of getting better each day for me. So then I mark those pyramids, and at the end of the year, I'm going to tally up how close I came. Under that goal is the objective. I want 85% of my podcast to be in person. Why? Because 93% of communication is nonverbal, it's in person, and I feel it's a richer, deeper experience. And I know you've done some in-person podcasts and you feel the difference. It's difficult for us to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it to our listeners, but you feel the difference. And that means something to me as a richer, deeper connection. And when I come visit Chad, you better believe we're going to sit down for one. So the that's an objective. So now I got to manage. Okay, I know my goal is 52. Here's 85% in person. What trips am I going to make? What connections?
Yeah.
Who am I going to invite out to Austin? And just try to game plan for the whole year. That's an example. So there's different business, personal, relationship, financial goals that are on there that I'm tracking, and then just marking on that calendar. It holds me accountable every single day, and at the end of the year, it's gonna feel great because I'm
Mhm.
doing the due diligence of just marking my daily or my weekly wins. And you got to write them down. It's the most difficult part. And this is a challenge from Justin Kavanaugh. He says your dream 100. So whatever that means for you, for me, it was podcast guests. I got a dream 100 list. It is
Yeah.
so difficult to think of 100 people that I'm going to talk to. Yeah. So that could be Dream 100, whatever it may be for people. I don't know. Make these are my personal goals. So whatever you want
Yeah.
to get out there, what's your Dream 100 clients if you're a personal trainer, Dream 100 uh, athletes, whatever it may be if you're a strength and conditioning coach. Like who do you want to personally work with
Right.
or learn from, right? Who do you want to go visit and shadow for a couple days? If anybody wants to come out to Austin, Texas to see how I integrate movement, leadership, and long-term athletic and leadership development into practice, come on out. You're going to learn a thing or two about lacrosse along the way, But
Yeah.
that's just the little things. See how I lead a team between the whistles and get up and close and personal, and that is going to change how you lead practices or you lead your strength and conditioning sessions with your teams. Because the programs, whatever's written on the paper, the practice plan, doesn't matter. It's leading them
Hmm.
with intent, the intensity in 10 cities to allow them to practice going full speed with urgency and then really making whatever is on the practice plan come to life.
With the goal setting, I like how you touched upon writing them down, super important. And I'll bore my audience with the science. You're more likely to accomplish that goal with writing them down. So not only is it important, but you're more likely to get those goals accomplished. But I also like how you talked about writing the objective. So we write the goal, then what are we going to do to help ourselves achieve that, which is also very important as well. And so that way we're not only just seeing that goal, but how are we working towards we're going to reach that. And I think it's important. I'm sure you can agree to write that down as well. We can think through it, but writing down how you're going to accomplish that. Like you said, you want this many podcasts uh, to get done. Well, how am I going to accomplish? Well, that means I need at least once a week or once every other week. So just seeing how you can create that dream or goal or reality is also very important as well. So it doesn't seem so large.
Mm-mm. I want them large,
Okay.
but then there's steps
Yeah,
climbing that mountain.
exactly. Um, for success, what does that look like 6 to 12 months out for someone who commits to structured, whether that's training or behavior change, especially tailored towards our former athletes?
That's a great question. I think everyone's going to have to decide that themselves. And I
Mm,
would encourage them to create definitions of success in each of those buckets. So, what I did, I only had success in my professional career. So, traveling the world, finding the best in the world to learn from them to bring back to my athletes. There was a lot of neglect for that, everything outside of that. So I would
yeah,
encourage people to then focus on relationships. Relationships take reps, just like leadership does. So I hope that you gain some confidence and learn something from each relationship you're in about yourself that you can bring into future relationships. So I wouldn't limit it to career success.
yeah,
Just like where athletes, when we were in college, we were caught in the trap of what does success look like, and it was only connected to our performance in the sporting arena. Yes, there
yeah.
was school, and I the joke is right. Academics are number one. Athletics is number two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I laugh. I checked my transcript just the other day, and I'm like, wow, I was clearly there to do one thing. So I was just did enough to get into grad school. That's about it. Um,
Yeah,
but I found that I learned through leaders and mentors rather than just reading and memorizing. So I found my own way to learn, and I didn't justify and define success as what was told to me by university. Define success in its own buckets, whether it's financial goals, but if you're only financial, something's going to give relationally. So include relationships, include family, include travel. I didn't travel until let's see, 2013 for me. I forget how old I was, but I got to do math. But maybe 27, 28. Didn't have a
mm,
passport until then. Get a passport. Get out there. There's so much world that is amazing. I turn that into success of what experiences and stories can you bring back? Not necessarily the amount of
yeah.
countries that you did, but what stories from each country did you live and can bring back for some fun stories with friends. So yeah, don't just limit it to career, and don't neglect relationships. That's one thing I'll say.
I like that tidbit of writing down and defining what you personally define as success because uh, with everything and we're so used to being so driven in one area that that's not all that life is. And not to go on a tangent maybe for another podcast, but you once you get that free will high of no longer having that dedication to one thing, it can be crazy or it can be really good. And so defining what you want now to success to look like, but that doesn't mean it has to be circled into one thing.
No,
And giving yourself that avenue to have multiple areas of what you define as success. As we're wrapping up here, Tex, you've been amazing. I want to ask what's next for you. What are you excited about in coaching, education, or with helping athletes? I'm going to talk to us a little bit about how people can connect with your work, like captains and coaches.
yeah. What's next for me is exciting to go into universities, go into prep schools, and teach hands-on leadership. So a very common thing, and I don't know if you had this in college, where they brought in motivational speakers. They talked for 60 minutes and then see ya. And we were right back to
Yeah,
our
yeah.
rambunctious Division III things, cheeky and fun shenanigans. So yeah,
Yeah.
that felt good for an hour, but then we didn't apply any of those tools. Knowing that and understanding the population extremely well, now
Mhm.
actively going into schools and doing 3-hour workshops that include captain's workouts. So teaching them how to run captain's workouts. What I hate to see is every single year there's a college that does a captain's workout that leads to dudes going to the hospital with rhabdomyolysis because
Yeah.
nobody knows how to strengthen condition. So
Mhm.
okay, well, here's a playbook that you can run. What's the purpose of a captain's practice? For us to come together, for us to hold each other accountable, and do a wellness check before the conditioning test, saying, all right, well, 1, 2, 3 dudes, they're not even close. I'm going to get with them on the outside to do more fitness. So I will lead a captain's practice, captain's training session to show them the value and actually how to get better, test each other, and come together. So then
Yeah.
the next part of that is more instruction on conflict. So how to initiate a confrontation. Then include a bunch of role playing techniques and the aim, I've done it with specific full teams, but I've also done it where schools give me all of the team captains, whether it's volleyball, softball, football, lacrosse, basketball, baseball, whatever. So it's men and female
Mhm.
dynamics. So now we get reps doing conflict with same sex. So the male coaches, or excuse me, male athletes and leaders, bringing up conflict and confrontation about real life examples and doing dry runs. Then we have,
Yeah.
same with the females. Then we have aspects where, okay, how does female confront male? Because that's realistic in the workforce. So we're getting
Mhm.
reps on standing on our values and how to have constructive criticism, how to have constructive conflict that leads to a resolution rather than a resentment. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. So it's a fun, interactive, movement based, social agility based aspect of the leadership development. And then they go take these tools and they apply them right to their team. Rather than listening to just a motivational speak, now we get tangible aspects, confidence, and the abilities to go and lead. And that's what it's all about. So yeah, leading different workshops at the college level and different prep schools all over the country. So that is very fulfilling. And then continuing to travel for the podcast, and I've accomplished a lot this year, respect to goals. So done Notre Dame, then head to LSU next week to sit down with Jay Johnson. He's the baseball head coach that just won the national championship. So just
That's amazing.
continuing to show up and lead with purpose. That's going to continue to open a lot of doors and lead to a lot of great fun conversations on the podcast.
Talk to me about how our audience can find you outside of here, and if they're looking for any of your services or just want to hear more about what you do and like the messages you share on social media, especially.
Yeah, easiest is Instagram. So it's at my last name, McQuilkin, McQuilkin. Then the
Hmm.
podcast is Captains and Coaches Podcast. Super easy to search and all over the YouTubes. And the if you're looking for fitness and training programs, I post my workouts. So deliver my workouts that I'm doing. I'm pretty beat up from years of playing and training. So this is more of
Okay.
a rebuilding
Yeah.
model. And then each day I have a leadership devotional. And my big thing, the program's called Old Bull. We're training with wisdom. My big thing with that program is who's looking out for the leaders. So I got people from all over the world. And then if they need something, they say something. If they need coaching on movement, they film their lift and put it in there. Or if it's they share their daily journal from that little segment, then we can
Wow.
explore that. So that's the big thing. I'm super proud of. I got a bunch of old teammates on there following the program, coaches that I've run into throughout my career. So it's a growing community of athletes that are training intelligently and then all looking out for each other.
That's amazing. Wow, I love that. Um, what is the most powerful driver of performance that you've learned with your work?
Uh, Now I feel relationship comes before rules.
Yeah, I like that one. That
And
one's really good. I think that one's super important as you talk throughout this podcast, and the audience could see your passion through it is, uh, like you said, whatever's on that piece of paper is important foundationally, but the relationships, that's what's going to keep people coming back. That's what's going to keep you and doing what you do. Relationships is top of everything. We have one more question for you. I ask most of our guests on the podcast if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, or maybe somebody you know could use this piece of advice, what would you tell that athlete standing on that field?
the great question. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing about my playing career. I mean, I did the most with my genetic and skill abilities, and I found the right team that allowed me to emerge and find who I am as a leader. So athletically, I couldn't ask for a better thing. Maybe some some issues off the field that then led to dudes being suspended that cost the team. So maybe seeing those behaviors earlier and getting ahead of it. um, but then I did not have the conflict tools to confront them, and that that did cost the team. So for
Yeah.
me as an athlete, I wouldn't change anything. For me as a leader, it would be more confident to call out people on stuff that was going against the team goals that we've established that were outside of their character at certain times.
That's really great advice. Not being too hard on yourself, but also a little bit of reflection of, I didn't have the tools, but maybe something I could have fixed looking back. Is there anything else, Tex? Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule that you'd like to leave our audience with before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I would encourage athletes, former college athletes, to just adjust their identity. Right? They were a volleyball player, they were a track athlete, they were a lacrosse player. Yes, now they're not. But what are they?
Yeah,
They're a leader. So hold on to all the intangibles, hold on to the lessons, hold on to the stories, the conflict, the confrontations, the wins, the losses, and then think, how can you apply them to the people that you are leading now? And it is all valuable. So I'm not asking you to forget the glory days. I'm just asking you, what can I squeeze out that could be an ounce of prevention or support or motivation for the people that you do have the fortunate opportunity to lead now.
thank you so much again for taking time to be on here today. If you know any athletes, former athletes, or coaches that could use this episode, please like, share, turn on those notifications, and we will be back.